Y'all
Thank you.
the clearest representation of what New York City is, and you guys are what makes hip hop great and what
Appreciate
makes
that.
hip hop last.
So I salute hip hop and everybody from y'all, the informatives of the information station, as I would say it.
Yeah.
You know, from you guys having interviews, because without you guys, nobody gets to have the identity of the artist. Continue doing your thing, man. Keep these platforms going.
Changing of the hip hop gods. Y'all are the gods. Let's make it happen, y'all.
Welcome everybody to Changing of the Hip Hop Gods podcast. I am your host, Uncle E. That is my partner, the journalist Sincere. And today we have none other than Dagger joining us, hip hop artist, teacher, man of many hats, and we will get into that in a few moments. But how you doing today, Dag?
I'm good, brother. I'm blessed, man. I'm happy to be here, man. I'm excited. I got a new project coming out this weekend,
Yep.
and yeah, I'm all in.
Good.
No doubt.
Yeah. Sunday the 19th, man. That's Father's Day, Juneteenth. I mean, there's a lot going on. Your album's coming out. Before we get into that, though, if you could do us a favor and let everybody know a little bit about where you come from, a little bit of your background, how'd you get into hip hop to begin with?
Yeah, man, sure. Yo, so I'm Dagger. It's Dagha. I'm born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts. Yeah, I've been doing this for like 30 plus years. Easy. I think my first vinyl was 1999. So yeah, mostly independent artists. I was signed to Lewis Recordings for a little bit. They put out the Divorce album. The Lewis Recordings is based in UK. But yeah, I grew up, man. I was a b-boy first. You know what I mean? We had a pretty strong Zulu Nation chapter that was based in Boston. It was led by Queen Viv. And yeah, that pretty much changed my world, man. It just exposed me really heavily into the culture. But I chose b-boying, and we started breakdancing. It was me and my man Corey. We called ourselves Cloak and Dagger. But we started off as b-boys, but then we was breakdancing for groups and for artists that we was just like, we feel like we can write better rhymes than these cats. Why are we dancing for these cats? And then that kind of began the transition. I never started off as a solo artist. It was Cloak and Dagger.
Okay. So yeah, you talked about the Zulu. Were you in this chapter of Zulu, or you just?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I was Aki level. I didn't get above that, but we traveled around. We connected with other Zulus from New York and other spots, and instrumental in the Million Man March. Showing strong presence from Boston.
Yeah. You talking about when they did like the anniversary for it?
Nah, the original one, the first one.
Oh, okay. You go that far back then.
Yeah, we had a hand in making sure a lot of cats from Boston was in attendance. For that, and it was dope, man. I remember seeing Nice and Smooth and Brother Jay from X Clan there. It was dope. It was dope.
Okay, yeah. I was down with Zulu for about 3 or 4 years, man. Unfortunately, I joined in like 3 or 4 years after that is when the whole Bada, Yeah.
And that's the tough part, man, because that's what cats associate Zulu with now. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know, man. It's unfortunate, but it's just like, to be in it during that time and just to have the bigger, the native tongues and the it was all organic, and it was just like, I don't know, it was just something different, man. It wasn't anything that was ever mainstream or that we thought was going to be mainstream back then. But it hooked us.
Right. No doubt. So started off dancing, then you said you could take these whack MCs out and do better than them. So what, did you start writing like right after that? Did you start practicing MCing? What was the process like?
Yeah, we started writing. We said we was gonna call ourselves Cloak and Dagger. His name is Corey. My name is Dwayne, C&D, and little comic book thing we was into back in the days, and we just started writing verses, and then we would, he lived like 3 houses down from me. And we would write verses, then we would come out. We would have a certain time where we would just come out and just share with each other what we wrote. And that was the start of it, man. And then from there, it was just like, we need to get a rhyme book. Like, you know what I mean? And we went out, bought ourselves a nice little, one of the Mead notepads, without the spirals, like the black and white cover joints, the hard covers, you know what I mean? With the lines,
Yeah.
with a nice pen, a couple, maybe like a nice 3-pack splurge, you know what I mean? But that was it. That's how we started. And then, the verses turned into songs. Then the songs eventually turned into us feeling confident enough to do talent shows. That's when we had talent shows.
Right.
You could showcase stuff around the hood, and cats with talent that like right around away in your neighborhood, you could actually go out and showcase your stuff. But there's less of that now. So but yeah, that's
dope,
I could keep rambling, man.
Dope.
I just
no, it's cool, it's cool. But we want to know, man. We want to know the process. You know what I'm saying? And when did you guys find that? Okay, you know what? We're good. We're on to something, man. Let's maybe shop some demos or try to get a deal. At what point did that happen?
It was really, we started off strong and ambitious right away. Like we was in malls selling stuff out of our car trunks. Like, we was going hard. Had an independent label. We pressed up our own units. We would do like 500 runs of like, singles or whatever like that, and go to different producers and different. But it really didn't click until I met Insight. Insight's another. He's a genius. He's Boston based. He's a producer. He's an MC. He also creates software. This dude is just like a mastermind. And he's ill. He's like, I was doing some theater stuff back in the day, and I met his sister, and then she found out I was into music. She's like, you need to meet my brother. And when I met this dude, I was doing Cloak and Dagger, but he had like the beats that he was just beyond his time. He had like a little trumpet. He had his SP12. He had his Akai, the hard drive where he was kind of routing everything and storing everything. And it was just wild, man, because we was like in high school. I was just like, yo. Yeah. And then, his moms was always be yelling at us to keep it down. But like when we recorded with Insight, I'll never forget it, man. It was that, Shooting from the Mental Miss with the horns. I think I got them. Damn, y'all making me want to dig that up now. But it was called Shooting from the Mental Miss. Insight produced it, and it was the illest vibe, illest shit, hands down. And he did it so easy. Like he chopped that shit up in like 15 minutes. It was just like, yo, y'all record. And then I was just like, I want to run with this dude. You know what I mean? And then that was actually the breakup of Cloak and Dagger as well. Because Cloak wanted to stay with the producers we were dealing with at the time, and the Zulu fam that we had come accustomed to, and became our brothers and stuff. And but that to me was just something all new. I was just like, nah, I gotta go this way, man. Like he was just like, I'm going this way.
Right.
And then that was it. That was the start of me trying to figure out how to be a solo MC.
Okay.
For those who of us are not from Boston, take us a day down the hill, Blue Ave Hill. What was going on as far as shows and ciphers?
Man. So I lived in Mattapan. That's basically the start of Blue Hill Ave, I would say, on the south, as far south as you can go without going into like the burbs. But It starts from Mattapan Square, and I live maybe like a 15-minute walk from Mattapan Square. You get on a 2-8 bus that brings you up Blue Hill Ave. It brings you basically through the entire city of Boston. But that 2-8 bus was like a magical ride because you can get off in Grove Hall in Roxbury, and there'd be like freestyle ciphers, like scheduled freestyle ciphers. You know what I mean? Or you could take the bus up to Ruggles and then get on the train and then get off at like Jackson. And there's a scheduled freestyle cipher. And it was just like the illest underground. I don't know, man. It was just, you had to be there to really experience that, to appreciate it, man. Like, it was entrepreneurial. It was, you know, thinking outside the box, and it was all. Besides that, we had the Strand Theater, which was right after Grove Hall. The Strand Theater for a while was the go-to spot. You know, and then it got hot with just you know, the shit that happens, unfortunately. Just the fights and you know, and it was all political too. And then, you know, surely but surely they started shutting down all those spots. So it didn't last long, but the vibe was there. The vibe was there for sure, and you would see it. We didn't have many venues coming up like that, but we created our own venues, whether it was like a train station, a street corner, a park, or what have you.
Wendy Day, yeah, shout out to her, man. She does a lot of representation for yeah.
It sounds like she's still doing the thing too. Yeah, big shouts to Wendy Day. She's
no joke, man.
Man, listen, we would the goal was to get a deal, right? And Boston's small. There wasn't no labels in Boston, so you know we would chef our shit up and then take drives out to the city. But we needed connects to kind of get to these different labels and to get to the people that we wanted to hear the music, and that was Wendy Day, man, all day. I forgot where I met her. I feel like it was through like a Zulu thing or something. But you know, she was always there, man, always supportive. And yeah, I just I'd love to see her again and reconnect. But I would say she was very instrumental. I don't know if we could have gotten to the New York scene. Like we would have eventually leaked through the underground channels, but Wendy Day helped us meet some important people for sure.
Right. At what point did you find yourself over Grandmaster Flash's house?
Oh shit. That was a Zulu. That was my man Smitty. Shout outs to Smitty. He's doing his movie thing now, but he was basically like our producer. His biggest sister, his older sister, was Queen Vivian, who ran the Zulu chapter for us. And Smitty was also a part of that chapter with us. So Smitty was like my big brother. He's the one that taught me how to use the EPS, the Ensoniq joint, the 16 plus. I went out, I bought my own, and that's how I actually started getting into productions. But yeah, Smitty always had a connection with Guru. You know, Guru was initially from Boston. You know, I think Smitty had an opportunity to go out to New York with Guru when that whole thing went down, and he chose not to, but he always stayed connected, you know, with Keith. But yeah, it was a Smitty connection. Like he made it happen. You know, he's just like, yo, I think we can get over the Grandmasters. And yeah, man, we was in there in his grandmother's spot. He had the decks set up, man. It was surreal. It was dope. I'll never forget it.
How was it meeting Flash, man? So I hear some mixed things about it. Sometimes they say he's a little too high up. Some say he's cool. How was he with you guys?
Yo, it was low key, man. It wasn't like we stood there. It wasn't like we stayed there for even like an hour. You know what I mean? And a lot of it was him kind of reconnecting with Smitty and just kind of catching up real quick, but I don't know, man. He was hospitable. Yeah. It seemed almost, he was too kind of like the regular person. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Must be a little surreal, though, you know, seeing the guy that you were watching on the big screen, Wild Style, or you know what I mean, and now you're like face to face with him.
In his
That must have been
grandmother's
dope.
house.
Yeah,
Yes.
nice.
You know what I mean?
Yo,
Like,
by the way, if you want, Wendy Day is on Instagram. If you want, man, she's
yo,
on the
I'm on
rap coalition. That's
Rap Coalition, of course.
Yeah, that's her handle.
All right, thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Before taking the solo route, you were a part of quite a few crews, such as Masters of the Universe and others. Can you briefly run through some of the crews that you were part of earlier on?
Yeah, sure. Masters of the Universe, as you mentioned. I think my first was Knights of the Round Table. That was with Insight, Mr. Liff, T. Ruckus, Electric Company, Midnight Shipment, the Real Dag Duo. Man. Those are the ones that are top of mind and probably the ones that are most influential. UFAM. I was part of UFAM. Yeah.
Very dope. At what point did you decide to start your own label, Amped Records?
That was pretty much from the jump. That was my first single that I pressed in 99. It's called Manverso. That was an Amp Records thing. I just doing the whole thing, driving out to New York, that whole hustle and bustle. I'm like, man, listen, we know people, man. Let's just get some vinyls pressed up. Let's just get it in some hands. And we just did that, man. We just, we ain't know nothing about running a label. And that's for sure. But, we know how to do math. It's just like X amount of units is going to cost this much. And then, we had to sit down and we had to strategize. Like, you don't want to just sit on units. So, but even before all that, we would press up like a bunch of CDs and just give them out as promo. So, it wasn't always about the money, but vinyls is like a different tax bracket, man. Them joints is expensive. You want to try to, have a plan for those. And we did our thing, man. It's funny because I look at them now, and a lot of them joints are like they're so rare that people are they're going up, man. It's like pandemic prices on like these classic vinyls, like, you know what I mean, with the small run. I'm like, I seen my shit. I think I seen it for $250 somewhere. It was like eBay or something. I'm like, come on, man. I'm serious. I got a couple of those in my crate right here. Holla, Dagger.com.
There you go. Oh, man.
What reaction did you get, do you remember, from the debut single, Manverso?
It was positive. My best memory is, I forget, I was at a club somewhere in Boston or maybe Rhode Island, and I think we were performing, and this group that went on before us actually performed to the instrumental version of Manverso. So on the B side, there was like an instrumental version of the A side, and they rock. And I don't know if they did that on purpose, because they knew we were. And I'm like, oh, how the hell they know who we are? Like, how did they do that? So it was just that kind of right there was just like, we may have something here. If Cats is rocking off this, at least that's, so yeah, man.
Very dope. Can you go ahead?
Sorry. No, I was just gonna say, like, around that time, were you guys doing? I mean, you mentioned that show, but were you guys getting a lot of gigs at the moment, or not yet?
We were creating our own gigs, so we would have a monthly at like the Middle East, or like you know what I mean, and we would rent it out, or we would get a percentage of the door. Whatever it would be, we would create our own stuff. And we had a couple of venues where we had that relationship with. Not Boston based at all. It was all like Cambridge, Brighton. These are all like outskirts, kind of little suburbias around Boston. But that's what we did. We created our own little monthlies, and then we did like it wasn't just us rocking either. We do like we call them Battlestar Galacticas. You know what I mean? Open mic nights. We had battles.
Battlestar Galacticas, man. Damn, bro. Oh, yeah. That's
Damn. We old. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking that old language.
That shit is nice, man. Okay. Right. That's dope. Now, what about for performing, though? What did you guys base or gauge your performance on? You know what I mean? Like, did you guys practice your stage presence? How was that?
Yeah, we never just wanted to be rappers that was that just stood up there and rocked, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. But we just wanted to always have a little something more to it. So, we would practice routines with the DJ. Whether it was just juggling and us figuring out like some back and forth rhymes.
You have some backup dances?
Mm-hmm. Oh, we did actually for a time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We didn't travel with them. We kept them local.
Okay.
Well, we did. We had two girls, Angie and Tiffany, and we would practice in my mother's basement. And yeah, it was dope, man.
Was it because it cost too much to bring them along, or you didn't want them to turn around and be like, yo, these dudes are whack. We could rhyme better than them.
I know. Do the same thing we did to the other guys.
Was it just cost too expensive?
We just weren't sure how much of a value it added to what we were doing. We weren't sure how to use them. I think in retrospect now, like we probably could have freaked it like a lot better, man. Like even gave them some bars here and there, like you know what I mean, just overdose or something. But yeah, we when we had office in New York, it was just enough money for us to like gas up the car, get there, get some snacks, you know what I mean, and make it back home, man.
Right.
We weren't getting paid much back then, if anything. So it was more of the opportunity. So
you never knocked on Benzino's door, nothing like that. Try to get up in the Source magazines and.
Man, I had an interaction with Benzino. He used to have a studio out in Canton, which is another spot that's kind of close to here. And I remember bringing my vinyl. My man Paul, my man P brought me through there because that was his people's. Yeah, man, listen, y'all got a minute? I'm just saying. Yo, so my man P, he was recently out, maybe like a year and a half or whatever, but I knew him through my girl at the time, and he was just like, yeah, you do music, you listen to my music, I need to introduce you to Benzino, this and that. All right, yeah, yo, bring me out, I'm gonna bring you out to the studio. We get out to the studio and yeah, I don't want to say too much, but like basically when Benzino got the record and he heard it, he probably listened to 7 seconds of it. It was just like, he took it off, was just like, nah, that ain't you. And I'm just like, well, you want to hear more of that? You want to check another track? There's a B-side? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I came all the way out here, man. You got to give me more than 7 seconds. He's just like, this ain't you. He's just like, I'm meeting you. This ain't you. I got a live band in the back. Boom, 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 boom. I want you to come back in and fuck around with us. And I go back there. I'm like, oh shit, you got a live band? All right, well, maybe you got a point. Because, I definitely prefer rocking with a live band.
Okay.
That's my thing. I used to have a band. So get out there, rock with the band, freestyling, just fucking around, just working with the band. He gives me like 5-10 minutes, cuts me off, then he's just like, yo, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have you stay out here. He had like a guest spot. I think Daz was out there at the time from the West Coast. She's like, you're gonna stay out here, we're gonna get this project done, this and that, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what you mean stay out here, bro? Like, I came out here to check an opportunity. Like, I love you digging it, but I can't stay out here, man. I gotta go home tonight, man. Like, you know what I mean? I just came out here to check something, man. I ain't come out here to like move here tonight. Like, and then it became this pressure thing where it's just like, yo, like, I'm tired of cats coming out here and you gotta be about it. You gotta be about it. Getting in my face. And I'm like, yo, P, get your man, dog. I ain't come out here for this. Like, get your man. And that's how that shit ended, man. And then eventually I felt like a hostage for like the next 10-15 minutes. I was just like, I want to get the fuck out of here, man. I want to get out of here. Like, I'm not staying here. Right. I'm like, I got a job. He's like, yo, well, fuck your job. Like, this is serious. You only get a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I dig it. I can hear where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And a lot of cats probably would have jumped at that shit. But
well, maybe at least if you had somewhat of a heads up of what the possibility might be, not just kind of go out there and then just be like,
let me pack a bag. Let me get a toothbrush or something. You know what I mean? Kiss the babies, dog. Let me let me make some plans.
Crazy.
You got a pretty lengthy discography. I'm going to jump into a few highlights of your career, and you can tell me some of the best memories of creating these projects. Let's say, for instance, Objects in Motion.
That was my very first album. It was actually financed by Insight independently, and then we actually got some licensing deals in Australia and like Japan, and that was just dope. And I love that dude for that.
Right. The Divorce.
The Divorce is based on the true story. I didn't write it to put it on record or on vinyl like that. It was more therapy for me, but Lewis Recordings heard it because I was touring with Edon and Insight, and Edon's on Lewis Recordings, and he was just like, "Yo, we need to do something with that," and then that was that. So, my biggest memory of that is just touring with Lewis Recordings and that whole lineup, Dulio, Andrew Thompson, Edon. We had some really nice tours, man.
What was the bonus scenes about?
Yeah.
The bonus scenes was all remix beats, and then I added some retrospect, a little perspective to it. Just again, I didn't expect The Divorce to even be put out like that, and when it was put out and it actually started gaining traction, I was feeling a little bad. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, I gotta soften this up a little bit, man, and I'm always honest and just myself with my rhymes, and with the songs, and I'm always kind of conscious of, like, you know what I mean, its impact on you know what I mean, my family, my kids, just you know what I mean, and that's a touchy subject, man. For my daughter was 5 years old at the time, you know what I mean, she's 21 right now, so there were certain things I wanted to do in that album to protect her, so that when she was 21 now, she won't listen back and hate my effing guts.
Right.
So I think it was done respectfully, but I think the bonus scenes helped to kind of, you know what I mean, add a little maturity onto it.
What about the Project Tree?
Project Tree was a live band that I did, that I was a part of, Boston based. This was after I left the Lewis label in UK, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I moved back to Boston because I was living in Germany for a while. I started working with this organization, Boston Scores, that I'm still working with now. But I wanted to do music and I wanted to get back into it, man. But I didn't really have the connections I had because I've been gone for so long. And so we started a band. Yeah, it was a reggae, hip hop, R&B. My wife, I met her. She was a part of the band. She sings the R&B. She's on this album, Black Flowerz. But we had a dope drummer, bassist, guitar. We did a lot of shows, and we had a good thing going. We just couldn't keep it going. It's tough, man, with these group things. Right. It's just tough, especially when everyone's juggling lives and jobs.
Yeah. Right. Real quick, going back to the divorce, you mentioned about your daughter. So what did she say? Like, she's heard it now at this age that she's at now. What were her thoughts about that project?
Well, I scrubbed a video that I did for that. That was a pretty dope video, but I scrubbed it from online. And then, I made sure no names were ever spoken. Like, I edited all the names. You never hear her name. You never hear her mother's name. You never hear, her brother's name. And I don't know what she honestly thinks. I don't know if she would ever tell me, what she honestly thinks. But I've always been there with her and for her since that day.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Even to the point where she created the artwork for my new album. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, she drew this, hand drew this.
I saw that, yeah.
So, yeah, and then I never spoke bad about her mother.
Right.
Day. You know what I mean? No, but it's important because this time it ain't go both ways. You know what I mean? It ain't go both ways.
Yeah.
I seen the receipts. You know what I mean? But I think there's a level of respect there for my daughter, just the fact that I never went there with her and her mother. Even when she gets in trouble with her mother, I'm still the one like, yo, you need to get that straight. Like, for real. Let's all meet up for lunch or something and, let's get that straight. But yeah, man, it's tough. I don't know. I would love to know what's on her mind and for her to really tell me. And you actually encouraging me to talk to her about that, man. No BS, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and part of me for asking, I'm just because I did see, like you were saying about the new project. I mean, I know she did the drawing, and I believe you have like your other kids. Your family is pretty much a part of this new project.
Yep.
So I was just curious because you just seem very family orientated and everything, man. So that's the only reason why, just out of curiosity.
Nah, and for sure.
And I think it's really dope. I mean, that's why I'm asking too. I commend what you're doing. I love it. So that's why I
appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
and for me, Black Flowerz, I want that to be as highly regarded as the divorce. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just something, man. I just needed to have something because that can't be my legacy. You know what I mean? And that's essentially, like, especially over this pandemic, man. All we had was each other. You know what I mean? At certain times. So, I'm in the studio trying to stay sane, and my kids is right here with me, man, and they singing along, and I'm like, man, you know what? Let's lay that down. Let's lay it down. Like,
that's dope.
So yeah, man, I'm hoping that this is as highly regarded as, they're not promoting the Black family. They're not promoting family at all. Anybody's family.
Right.
Everything is just like,
yeah.
It's so fragmented, man, and it's all over the place. And the family unit and the structure is important and it's strong, man. And I want that to stand as strong as the fucking divorce.
Right. Right. Yeah, what you're saying, it kind of reminds me of something I said not that long ago. Like as far as does tradition exist anymore? Does tradition even matter anymore? You know what I mean? And I feel like that's somewhat along the lines of what you're saying. Like the structure of your grandmother, your grandparents, and what you learn and what's passed on and passed down. It's like you don't really see any of that anymore. With the generation being so young now, I feel like some of that is lost. Or you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
it is.
And it's
And
a little scary, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's maybe like 10, 20 years from now, it's going to be even worse.
it's frightening.
If we don't, like gentlemen like you, Sincere, myself, if we don't kind of carry on to this, you know what I mean, when it comes to certain things.
We have to, man. There's nothing. What else you got but family? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I don't know, man. And it's dangerous because it's other forces that are influencing the youth's minds. You know what I mean?
Right.
That are more powerful than the family, and they're pushing. There's this agenda, and we just got to be aware of that, man. And they don't want us to get married. They don't want us to buy real estate. They don't want us to be educated. They just sex, drugs, violence. Play that shit on the radio, repeat it, heavy rotation, and then see what you get, man. That's a recipe for fucking disaster. You got kids twerking. I see this shit. I work with the kids,
Yeah, I want to get into that in a little bit, but yeah.
So the new album drops this Sunday, the 19th. Talk a little bit about the features on this album as well as production.
Yeah, I don't got no features, man. My features is my family. So I got my wife A+ on there. She's definitely provided some harmony, some good vibes there. I got my twins, Courtney and Kennedy, featured on a couple tracks. My man B Leafs from Boston did a majority of the productions. I got Insight on the track. He did Energy. I got my man Timepiece from Australia. He's on the track. My man Kane Major. So yeah, it's a nice switch up from me. I'm usually exclusively DJ Real and DJ Real beats. And this one is a mixture of some other cats I haven't rocked with in a while. So excited about it.
Where will the people be able to find this project out when it drops on Juneteenth?
Everywhere that streams it, whatever, Apple, iTunes, Spotify. You can go to my Bandcamp and get it. I don't have physical units of this one just yet, but I'm thinking about doing a short run of something. I'm not sure if it's going to be vinyl or not, but yeah, it'll be streaming on all available platforms June 19th.
Listen, do us a favor when you decide on what you're going to do as far as physical. Save Sincere myself a copy, man, please, so that we can, get a nice official signed one from you.
Yo, I got you, man, and I owe you guys a DA to the G vinyl, man. So
awesome.
We could talk offline, man, so I can get your mailing info.
Absolutely,
yeah, for sure.
Before we get out of here, can you talk a little bit about Dagger Ed?
Oh, Dagger Ed. So I created a curriculum for my after school organization. It combines youth, combines sports and enrichment. And we were serving elementary kids. I wanted to kind of grow it to the middle school population, which is the 6th, 7th, 8th graders, but I didn't want to do poetry with them. I wanted to build on something that could possibly incorporate poetry. So I came up with the songwriting curriculum. It's called a different title now because I gave it to Scores and we had to title it a different title. So Dagger Ed is what it was essentially. It was a songwriting curriculum that took teams of up to 15 students it would actually guide the instructor through the process of creating like a song. You know, so maybe they would analyze lyrics of current popular songs and identify metaphors or identify different poetic devices that may or may not be within those lyrics. And then this curriculum kind of just took them through the process of creating their own songs, man. And it became pretty popular. It became pretty dope, actually. And so at one point I had 10 middle schools, 300 kids, each school with like a boys team and a girls team, rocking like an end of season event in like a theater, like rocking a song that they wrote, you know, from this curriculum as an end of season event kind of showcase. And then we were part of an affiliate organization, so I was able to train other affiliates, you know, throughout the country on that curriculum. But then it just, I think that was hot for like 2 years, and then you know, I got a knock on the door. I was just like, I think we need to change this. and I think the reason was because I was the only person that could actually train. There was no one else that could come in and help me train and like do what I was doing. And I would take tracks, I would mix them down and send them back to the teachers. And they're like, this is dope, but it's not sustainable. It's not scalable. Like we would need like 10 of you. So that's still there. The curriculum still exists. I still use it for like winter breaks or, you know, I'm still working with different groups of youth occasionally. So, but yeah, that's what that is. So, and you know, if you ever want to bring that to your school or your community center, and I know I'm Boston based, but I travel and I got peoples in locations as well. So if you want to bring that to your community center, to your school, just holler at me, Dagger.com.
So you just say you deal. It's not only the school district. You deal with community centers and things of that nature as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Nice.
I was just up in PS 161 a few weeks ago up in Harlem.
Yeah.
Doing some stuff, doing some social entrepreneurship stuff up there. So.
Wow. Now let me ask you: is there anything, you know, somebody that maybe will see this interview or something like that takes an interest in what you're doing? Is there anything that somebody can do that, you know, to help out? You know, donations, time. Is there anything that somebody that can do to help out if needed?
Yeah, I would say listen to the music. You know what I mean, and share it.
Right. Well, I mean with the like, curriculum and stuff like that.
Oh, with the curriculum. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the curriculum, it has a lot of potential. You know, it has a lot of potential. So, you know, it's just if there's anyone out there that could help with scaling this somehow and formalizing this or structuring it, you know, whether it's through partnership or whether it's through something that's more organic, then definitely reach out. And if you have any ideas, because again, I'm still just one person, but we have the tool there and it's been proven to be effective, you know, and to be engaging. So, yeah. Right. Reach out.
Cool. Yeah, and to support you, of course, man. Everybody go out. Make sure you check out Black Flowerz June 10th, this Sunday. Right, well, it'll be coming out this Sunday when you see this. And yeah, man. So you said Bandcamp and all digital platforms.
All digital platforms, yeah. Bandcamp is you know, is my direct kind of thing, but it'll be on Spotify. It'll be on Apple. You know, all those things. There's so many of them, but
I know
it should be on all of them.
No doubt. Well, Dagger, we appreciate you joining us this evening. After Black Flowerz does its thing, what can we be on the lookout for?
I'm trying to get some shows in. You know, I've been doing some little ones here and there, but ideally, you could look out for me coming to a city near you. and bringing a really dope live hip hop set to your city. So other than that, I'm still in the lab. I got projects on deck. We're gonna keep at it. I got a couple videos coming out with Black Flowerz. Y'all should look out for. One's called Make Money. The other one is the title album, Black Flowerz. So look out for those videos. And hopefully I'll be at a city near y'all soon.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Jerry Graham for making this happen. Before we get out of here, can you shout out your social media and where we can keep up with Dagga moving into the future?
Yeah, the nucleus for me is Dagger.com. My Instagram is at the real Dagger. That's funny. I should know that. That didn't like flow off my tongue that right. But yeah, man, just go to Dagger.com, DAGHA. Everything's connected from there. And yeah, I look forward to hearing what you all think about the album.
Absolutely,
man. Definitely. Well, from us, you're gonna hear from us this Sunday, Juneteenth. All right, for sure. Man, listen. On behalf of myself and the General Sincere, Changing of the Hip Hop Guards, we appreciate you. Everything you've been doing. Continue working on your craft. Much success to you, and let's keep pushing this Black Flowerz, man. Let's make this the. I feel like, man, it feels like a shield, man. You know what I mean? Almost. It's like the shield of the black, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's Juneteenth. It's Father's Day.
It's Father's Day.
It's something positive, man. So I appreciate
family
you guys,
orientated.
Man. Let's go.
Absolutely. No doubt. Thank you again, Dagga.
All right. Thank you, guys.